Hi, welcome back. I am Ryan W. Smith.
And I'm Tony Dean Smith.
And today we're going to be looking at the screenwriting process for our feature film, Volition.
Yeah, now like a lot of writers, Ryan and I are always working on our process, and we love looking out into the world and seeing what other writers do. So it interests us, it may not interest you, and if it doesn't, we completely understand if you want to turn us off right about now.
Anyway, so let's talk about the kernel of the idea for Volition, which is actually based on a concept that you came up with back in film school.
It is. It's a short screenplay that I wrote back in the day that I put in the drawer and worked on other stuff for a little while. And then eventually I found a way back into that material where it was interesting to take the genre and imbue it with some drama and science fiction. And so I worked on that first draft for a little while, and we were talking about it the entire time, and it interested both of us. We both loved the theme and the characters, and so it just made sense eventually that we would work on this thing together. And then we did. And some writers will sit in a room together and kind of write every single line of dialogue and action together at the same time. And that's not how we work. We find we're more productive doing something else. So maybe you want to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we start at the concept and then build that out into a beat sheet, which is basically like the main plot points of the film. So that means many days over months, potentially, hopefully less, but where we're just actually really trying to break the story and figure out the theme, the characters, structure, how all those things work together to be a cohesive whole. In that process, we will expand the beat sheet into an outline. And to do that, we'll often use cue cards or the index cards and map those out so that we can have a visual sense of what the whole movie looks like. And once we have that in place, we'll actually split it right down the center, and each of us will take a half and go off and write a first pass at that half.
Yeah, so we'll be off in our own little worlds. We'll have our outlines with us, which is kind of like our Bible, and we'll just write. And at that point, we're kind of discovering character and discovering things that we couldn't quite do in the outline. Once we've done that, we'll then come back together and we'll switch. We'll read each other's halves, and we will see what the surprises are, what the things that worked, what didn't work, and then we'll give each other notes, and then we'll actually rewrite each other's halves based upon sort of an evolution of our new outline.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because we're brothers and we grew up together, and so our voice with character is often fairly similar. And really, by the end, it's hard for us to remember exactly where something started and who had it first and who had it last. Yeah. Which is a cool process.
Yeah, and the thing, story is always the master, so it doesn't matter really who came up with what. I think we're always trying to fight and find what is really just best for the story and what's truest to the character. So looking at these diagrams, it actually reminds me how difficult the process was at different times. And I remember moments where we thought, you know what, we can't crack this. Maybe we should just put this back in the drawer and see it in a few years and say, Volition, you win.
Yeah, but I think it was once we gave up for a second and let it breathe, then suddenly new ideas start to pop up and you're like, wait, maybe we could attack it from this angle or that angle. And luckily, that energized us again to keep pushing to where we are now.
So, please join us next week where I will be sitting down with John Cassini, who we are very thrilled to announce is the first person to be cast in Volition. John's had an incredible career, and he'll be chatting to us about his work with David Fincher on Seven and the Game, working with Chris Haddock on Intelligence, his award-winning performance on Robson Arms, as well as his more current work on Continuum and Blackstone and various other feature films.
So please join us next time. You can find us at volitionthemovie.com or on Facebook at the Smith Brothers Film Company. We're also on Instagram and Twitter.